Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that you have joined me today. It is a Wednesday for us, and so our last preschool video in this series is today. We are going to focus on the whole child, bringing together all the information that we have sort of talked about in the last 8 videos. So I want to welcome you and just go ahead and encourage you to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Courage to Teach Differently. I'm excited to announce that there will be a book, The Courage to Teach Differently, coming out in the next month. And I am looking forward to sharing that resource with teachers and administration globally around the world. So go ahead, like and subscribe so that you can hear and watch all the videos in our series. We also have many different videos on Finnish pedagogy and different teaching strategies and techniques. So I hope that this channel is useful for you. So let's go ahead and just dive in to Preschool the Finnish Way, our last final video, the whole child in focus. We've reached the final video in our Preschool the Finnish Way series. Today we bring everything together: play, rhythm, nature, social emotional learning, calm, trust, purposeful environments, and the teacher as a facilitator to see how Finland keeps the whole child at the center of early childhood education. This isn't just theory, it's a way of seeing children. It's a change in our mindset, honoring childhood and creating spaces where growth happens naturally, joyfully, and deeply. The 3 pillars of Finnish early childhood education are holistic development, equality and inclusion, and joyful learning, play-based learning, where curiosity and exploration are not extras, but they are the foundation of education. So what does whole child really mean in practice, right? In Finland, the whole child isn't a slogan printed on a paper, a poster. It's a lived practice embedded in every moment of the day. It shows up in how teachers listen. It shows up in how the schedule is built and how the environment is created. And we talked about that a little bit last week. The whole child approach recognizes that children need more than academic preparation. They need emotional safety to express themselves and to learn. They need predictable rhythms that regulate their nervous system so that they can predict and be comfortable with what's going to happen. They need purposeful play that builds executive function, but they also need free play. They need deep belonging within a caring community. That's building that community environment, and time to grow at their own pace. This is not something that happens fast. It cannot be rushed, and childhood needs to be honored. So in our series, we explored 8 interconnected themes that form the foundation of Finnish early education. Each one supports and strengthens the other. We had childhood as at its own stage. We had play as the curriculum. We went into outdoor pedagogy and how important and influential that is in a child's inner self. We discussed social emotional growth, had different levels of learning, and the rhythm of the day, the routine that we talked about and how important that routine was. Then we moved on to how the teacher can be a facilitator as opposed to a lecturer or teacher. And then this past week, we talked about creating an environment, a calm, balanced environment that really promotes growth. So these aren't isolated strategies. They work together to create an ecosystem where children thrive. So if you're joining me in the middle of this series, I would encourage you to watch the beginning and the end of each of the sessions, because they do affect each other. And when we have all these moving parts working together, then we've created an amazing educational environment for our students. Instead of rushing young children toward academic benchmarks, Finland invests in a different kind of readiness, one that builds the inner architecture children need for lifelong learning and well-being. Some people call this skills, some people call it competencies, but really it's just about preparing the child in a whole way, not just in bits and pieces with their mind, or we focus on their emotions, or we focus on their physical. But putting all of that together and creating this whole experience for the child. So we focus on emotional capacity, learning to name feelings, self-regulate. We did that in our social emotional course. We talked about social skills, cooperating, negotiating, sharing space. We use curiosity and agency, asking questions, making choices, giving the children, the students, opportunities to drive their own learning journey. We did discuss motor development, gross and fine motor skills, and ways to improve those and give time for those to develop. And then we also discussed language through interaction, conversation, circle integration, play outdoors, free play, where the conversation just sort of develops on its own, and directed play, where the teacher will insert questions and help with that thinking. It's not delayed learning. This is building the foundation that makes all future learning possible. So if you've been a teacher in a higher grade, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, you definitely are able to see which children have had significant support emotionally, physically, mentally in their academic career up into those upper grades, and knowing that those kids are doing so much better because they have the foundation they need. Let's just quickly review what a typical day would look like for a preschooler. For those of you who have been watching and are curious about some of the more of the details, a whole child Finnish preschool day is built on intention, right? So very strategic, very intentional about how we lay out the room, how we lay out the activities, what aspects of the day the children have autonomy and agency with. So here's what it might look like. We have an unhurried arrival, so children are greeted warmly, given time to transition from home to school at their own pace. We move on to our morning connection, where we have circle time integration, where it focuses on emotional check-ins, greetings, setting the intention for the day, allowing the children to participate in scheduling different activities, choosing those things. Then we have some extended free play time, long interrupted blocks, not just like 10 minutes of free play, go do whatever you want. That's not the kind of free play we're talking about. We're talking about free play where the room is designed with different activities in mind that will promote different skills, right? So we don't just fill a room with random toys and then say, go play, right? We're creating the beginning idea of stations, learning stations, where students have different sections of toys that will build different skills and critical thinking skills. We move on to outdoor time, definitely a significant part of a student's day. All right, the next thing we have is meals as learning moments. So again, these are times when self skills are being built, right? So children aren't being served the food, they are choosing the food, they're deciding how much they want to eat, it's their responsibility to clean up, that kind of thing. Creating calm routines. So using clues or cues for transitions that the students will become familiar with, so that they know, oh, when this song is played, or when the teacher does this, or when she pulls out a sign, right? The students will begin to associate those cues with certain behaviors, and they will become predictable. Then there's rest and rhythm, right? So quiet time after we've had lots of activity. Our bodies need some rest to recuperate, to process, to connect the dots, to sort things out, deal with emotions if there was a difficult moment in the morning. So we have some rest time. And then we have child-led projects, mini investigations, these stations that I talk about a lot, where children can explore their learning. Why does this approach work? So I've shared a little bit of research over this series and some of my other videos. It's very much grounded in Finnish research and pedagogy that has been done for 20 years, and so more than 20 years. So it's definitely something that's tried and true, and you can trust that this system will work for you. It's supported by the research in child development, neuroscience, and educational psychology. So play builds educational function. It allows calm routines to regulate the nervous system. It allows nature to reduce stress and improve attention. And it shows that trust-based facilitation increases motivation, right? When a child has control of their learning journey, then they are going to be more motivated to learn because they're learning what they want to learn. So what are some practical applications for the classroom? This is something I did in every one of my videos. I always do it in my videos. And that is provide you with some practical tools that you can use right away in your classroom. So you don't need to be transforming your entire schedule or changing up your lesson planning if you do that. But small intentional shifts will create meaningful change. Just some examples. I've shared a lot of different ones, but today I'm just sharing these 4. Replace one transition with a predictable rhythm cue. For example, using a gentle song, a bell, a visual signal instead of verbal instructions or yelling, right? This helps children anticipate what's coming and self-regulate during transitions. They know what to expect, so they can be calm and relaxed about it. We can do what's called adding a 5-minute emotional check-in during circle time. This creates space for children to share how they're feeling. It helps them to understand and use words, colors, or emotion cards that you might have to offer them. It normalizes emotional awareness and builds community, right? It also creates tools to put in the children's toolboxes so that when their emotions aren't in control, they can pull from those tools and figure out how to get themselves centered again. We can create one new play invitation tied to the children's interest. This is that student agency, student autonomy, right? Noticing what children are curious about and setting up a simple provocation that invites deeper exploration. It could be as simple as adding magnifying glasses near a collection of leaves, right? Very open-ended. We're not talking about adding more toys. We're talking about creating a learning environment. And then the last one, move one part of the day outdoors. This is such an important part of learning for the children in so many ways, not just academically, but critical thinking. There are just some lessons in nature that children have to overcome that just don't exist in a classroom. And so learning how to explore nature and be successful in that is important. Back to our learning environment. You don't need to redesign your whole classroom overnight, but just start small, right? Just choose one area where you would like to finishify, if I can create a new word, this week, right? So declutter it, remove all the excess decorations and visual noise. Add some natural elements, maybe some wood, some plants, some stones, a basket, leaves, something, that is more nature oriented. Lower the overstimulation. So using natural tones, creams, browns, light greens, those kinds of calm visual colors. And then give children choice and independence. So arrange materials so that children can access and return them without adult help, right? So not in bins with lids that they can't open and close easily. I know I like to put all of my kids' toys in bins, but I had to make the bins those kind that are easy to open and close so that they could do it themselves. And then take a step back for a week or two and notice how the children respond to the new section or the new part of the classroom. Does the space invite longer, deeper play? Do they become more curious? Are they more self-motivated to go to that place? Does it create more peaceful learning in your class or peaceful play? So my final reflection in this preschool series is for you to share in our comments which part of the Finnish approach has changed your thinking the most. What small shift will you bring into your classroom this week? Take a moment to pause and reflect. Learning is not just about absorbing information. It's about integration. It's about intention and action. Sharing. Have you talked to a colleague about the things you've been learning in this series? Have you invited them to join you in watching this series, right? Write down one idea, share it with a colleague, try it tomorrow, put it in the comments below so that we can all learn from each other. Notice what's happening. This is how transformation begins, not with grand overhauls, huge, transitions, but mindful incremental shifts rooted in care. I just want to say thank you for learning through the Preschool the Finnish Way series. We've journeyed together through the core principles that make Finnish early childhood education a model for the world. But this is just the beginning, right? So now you have the foundations to bring calm, joy, trust, play, nature, and the whole child growth into your teaching experience. You understand that childhood is not a race. It's a stage of life that deserves protection, respect, and wonder. The real work begins now in your classroom, right? With your children, in the small daily choices you make about time, space, tone, and trust. You don't need permission to slow down. You don't need a curriculum manual to honor play. You already have everything you need. Just trust yourself, trust the children, be good listeners, trust the process. I would invite you to continue learning with Rekla Learning Studios. This isn't the end of what we offer. I have lesson bundles in our Rekla store. We have calm classroom toolkits for you to implement in your classroom, more strategies, more ways to get creative and encourage children to think critically. There are SEL routines that you can follow that can also be found in our Rekla store. We have phenomenon-based learning guides where you can learn all about phenomenon-based learning and how to apply it in your classroom. I offer full self-paced accredited teacher courses so that you can learn on your own all of these skills and strategies in more depth with practice and feedback from me and our team so that you can learn more and implement more, and things will become easier. And then, of course, we always have sessions, monthly sessions that you can sign up for and join and have discussions about Finnish education. So in closing, children need room to grow, right? Finnish early childhood education reminds us that children need room to grow. They need time to play, to explore, to learn. They need to have trust to grow and calm to belong. Thank you for bringing this wisdom into the world. Thank you for honoring childhood. Thank you for being the kind of educator who asks deeper questions and makes braver choices. The children in your care are lucky to have you. See you next time.